I was privileged enough to grow up on the coast of Australia, with the ocean as my playground. My happy place is their home, and sometimes I am fortunate enough to share it with them. But interactions are becoming very rare and harder to come by. Worldwide, the population is disappearing. The Great Barrier Reef in specific has witnessed over a 90% decline in just a few decades. Sharks are over 400 million years old, which make them the oldest living thing our planet has seen, surviving the dinosaur eradication. They hold a great yet forgotten significance to our planet's balanced and functioning natural cycles. In short, they are responsible for the oxygen we breathe. Life after the shark has been fished beyond extinction, ocean systems won't function, thus collapsing all life on Earth. A number of countries around the world value a dead shark over a living one. With my upbringing, I could not believe this, so I travelled to Indonesia to experience this industry firsthand. The shark fin trade, worth billions of dollars a year, killing over 100 million sharks annually, including the deaths of threatened and protected species. With Indonesia holding the largest amount of exports of shark in the world, I was taken to a main market where the boats were unloaded. The number of rotting sharks I saw that day at the market exceeds the total amount of alive sharks I have ever seen in the ocean. Lifeless bodies piled up, one after the other being sliced to pieces. Millions of years of evolution. Tigers, silkies, reef sharks, hammerheads, and even great whites. Pregnant sharks were scattered in the mix. The aftermath of the processing left behind is the worthless meat and hundreds of eggs, removed placentas with semi-formed translucent juvenile sharks. All of this slaughter for one focused export, the shark fin. A minor ingredient in a soup you can't even taste them in. China's most luxury delicacy, only served to the highest of the rich class, shark fin soup. A single fin can be worth up to 750 Australian dollars. So why are the men that risk their lives to fish them so shortchanged and paid so little? These are shark fishermen, born into the industry generation after generation. They are separated from their families and risk their lives week after week, spending 2 weeks out at sea fishing the sharks. These boats are hand-built by the fishermen and become a part-time living space for up to 6 men at a time. No toilet, no beds, no kitchen. They share this space with a growing pile of rotting shark bodies. Most of the men can't even swim, and with shark populations on the rapid decline, they pursue and venture further into forbidden areas, crossing into illegal waters. When they return, they are paid as little as 150 Australian dollars. This is their only source of livelihood. The labour is hard and working conditions are treacherous, but they know it's the difference between their families surviving another week or not. It is very important to understand these men are not the enemy. Have an empathetic approach and change the perspective the misrepresentations have casted. They are nothing but hard-working family men. They are not heartless. They have just become desensitized to their career, with income being their main priority. This industry is so unregulated and unmonitored, and with overfishing being encouraged through a reward of increase in payments, it is causing ocean populations to deplete at a rate nature cannot restore. It's causing the fishermen to work longer and travel further, resulting in decent income not being sustainable. In the near future, when there is nothing left to fish, this leaves innocent villagers who depend on ocean diversity and the fin industry with no money and no hope at surviving poverty. The real barbarians are the ones contributing to profits towards the fin industry and allowing this as a reality. Project Hiu, a non-profit organisation I am blessed to be a part of. This is Madison Stewart. The internet knows her as Shark Girl Madison, and her friends, we call her Pip. She is so far from your average 27-year-old. Growing up alongside sharks, she became a much-needed voice for these misunderstood prehistoric creatures. But unlike most online role models, Maddie furthers her passion into action as she fights for shark populations on the front lines, constantly putting herself in extreme situations that no other conservationist would ever even consider. She lives a very dangerous life. Diving with sharks is the safe part. It's the changes she's making in a radical industry with radical people that pursue large profits from sharks that's dangerous. She created and now leads Project Hiu. And these 3 boats, they are her boats. Once a figment of her imagination, today is a forever growing project benefiting an increasing number of lives, providing the next generation of shark fishermen with an alternative option for a better quality of life. She also supplies an endless amount of necessities to the disconnected fishing village. Doing so for as long as she has allowed her to form hard-earned yet unbreakable bonds with the fishermen and their families. Having gained the trust of the entire fishermen's village, she leads them into a promising future. In August, I was honoured enough to be a part of a trip of a lifetime. As a shark conservationist, being passionate about sharks since I can remember, never would I have envisioned myself spending a week practically living with the very men I was misled to fear. Thanks to Project Hiu, that week the fishing boats were not full of lifeless shark bodies and the smell of rotting flesh. Instead, they were filled with ocean lovers and explorers. The boats didn't spend that week in rough seas away from their families. They stayed safe in local waters, returning to their families whenever they decided necessary. The fishermen didn't spend that week hauling bodies and fishing non-stop. Instead, they surfed, explored, cooked amazing feasts, shared their stories, and took me to some of the most pristine coral reefs I have ever seen. Not to mention, on top of all these positives, they also earned a higher income. Under Maddie's leadership, Project Hiu is now responsible for removing 6 boats from the shark finning industry, with them not having participated in fishing for over 8 months. With tourism booming at its current rate in the modern world, it is the only industry that can compete with the profits of the shark finning industry, both worth billions of dollars a year. Tourism as an alternative career is the village's only chance at escaping an unsustainable income, gaining a safer, higher paying income to support their families. I have never had such a privilege at meeting such kind people in my life, and if anyone, they deserve this alternative.